In less than 30 days, folks, auto industry collapse, government to ban generators. We're now being told that savings that we acquired through multiple stimulus checks are now running low due to inflation, poor cash flow, and markets collapsing left and right. But wait, running low? How many of you guys still have money from those previous stimulus checks? I know a lot of people who put away that money into smart investments like stocks, index funds, ETFs, starting small businesses and whatnot. But I also know different households that received that money and basically had to use it almost instantaneously because times were pretty rough back then. And today's world isn't too smooth either, as more Americans are banking on their savings to, well, save them from this economy. And sure, we can all talk about how the federal government continues to sing this tune about how strong the economy is while eating ice cream, but the reality is that they're out of pitch, besides being out of touch with reality. I mean, look at this, guys. Personal savings in our country has collapsed by $5.5 trillion since April 2020. That is trillion with a T, folks. Isn't that insane? But how are you guys doing? Do you feel as though we're being done a huge favor by the government, or does it feel like they're trying our patience at this point? Now, on that note, how is our power grids? Still fragile as heck? I mean, the Biden administration must think that power outages don't happen in the country, as they're now moving to ban portable gas generators. I mean, just think about that logic for a second. Are they trying to just make our lives miserable at this point? Forget about preparing for power outages and blackouts or grid down situations. Is this what Bidenomics is all about? Now, I don't want to single out this entire idea from the government, but they just keep talking about helping the American people when it's literally looking like they're making things harder for us. Let's go ahead and read a little bit more into this, all right? Maybe it's not as nefarious as we make it out to be, right? So the CPSC, or the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, has proposed a new policy that will get rid of almost all existing portable generators in the market. And embedded in this policy is a new rule that would limit the amount of carbon monoxide that generators can emit, meaning that the generators will have an automatic switch off button when they reach a certain level of emission. Wow. So it's not as nefarious as we thought it would be. It's actually worse. Like, take it from this perspective where some households use this for heat. Do you want them to just freeze in the cold because they reach a certain level of emissions? Is that logic? Is that fair? Do they just want us to get rid of all things that we could store for a rainy day or for an emergency in case our power goes out?
Count on the portable generators to run a fan, charge their phone, maybe a small refrigerator. There's people right now in those pictures that you would be watching who were using portable gas generators. It's the only hope they have for weeks. However, those will now be outlawed.
Any preppers here that want to react on this news? So just when you thought standards couldn't go any lower, they found a way to dig that hole even deeper. But speaking of the bottom, just where is the bottom of commercial real estate? Because we're seeing these assets lose value in a way that we've never seen before. I mean, we saw this trend begin during the health crisis where businesses were just kind of up and leaving buildings because they wanted to save more money and they can make even more profits by just having their employees work from home. No electricity to think of, no rent, no running the air conditioning or the heater, whatever the case. It's great for them, isn't it? And now we're seeing occupancy rates drop like a rock. But don't get me wrong, guys. It wasn't just remote work that influenced this. No, sir. It was also crime.
And one of the big questions we face is about the future of downtown San Francisco. There's been plenty of talk about the retail industry's exit from the city's core. In fact, 23 stores have shut down in the Union Square area since 2020. Now, here are just some of those recent departures. You see them on the map.
Many of those same skyscrapers sit empty downtown. Nearly a third of all office space is vacant, and business after business is seemingly fleeing the city.
This is one of those transformations you haven't seen in, 50 plus years.
The city certainly has its share of challenges to deal with, notably public safety concerns and homelessness.
So now we're looking at commercial real estate and values declining by the minute as nobody wants to be in these buildings or areas anymore. I mean, just look at San Francisco, for example. Can anybody tell me that things will actually go back to the way that things were? Tell you what, if you guys think that things are just going to get worse, drop a quick like for this video. And while you're at it, consider being a part of this amazing community by subscribing to the channel. And let me ask you guys, how many of you guys would like me to go out to San Francisco and do an actual tour myself to see how bad things are? Maybe do a live YouTube video stream, while I'm walking through the streets of San Francisco. What do y'all think about that? But yeah, even top executives are sounding the alarms on CREs. Carroll's founder and CEO, Patrick Carroll, said that the office markets are going to get wrecked together with hotels.
In this situation we're in, things have to bottom out, and they haven't bottomed out yet. I was just reading there's $1.5 trillion of debt maturing on commercial real estate by 2025. So sellers are not realizing how much their properties have lost value, and they're not willing to dump their properties yet because they haven't felt enough pain. They're about to start feeling pain. These lenders are spooked. There's no lending going on. There's no transactions going on. And it's going to be ugly. I mean, it's going to be at least as bad as 08, 09. People don't want to say that, but downturns always are worse than the one before, and upturns are always better. I've rode the wave of price appreciation, rent growth, things like that since 2011. Well, the party's over, unfortunately. It's going to be okay in multifamily, but the office market is going to be destroyed. Hotels are going to be destroyed. It's going to be ugly.
Do you guys agree with this idea? And it's not just commercial real estate that's getting hammered. Look at the auto industry where companies are becoming desperate for sales. I mean, we don't have to look any further than Tesla. And sure, there's people who love Teslas and they love Elon Musk and all that. And that's cool. No problem with that, right? But look at the facts. They've been cutting their prices repeatedly. And now they're offering 84-month financing for their cars. Man, oh man, that's 7 years, folks, paying on that car. Now, here's the thing. And I want you guys to fully understand this because you're not going to be informed about it like when you go to grab one of these cars from one of your local dealers. Now, while yes, you're going to be shelling out much less money on monthly payments, but the reality is that you're going to end up paying a lot more in interest for these cars. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has blamed the Federal Reserve and high interest rates for their change since they're getting to a point where sure buyers are becoming that much more elusive. But there will come a time, and I could really feel it coming, where more Americans are in the loan process and then they just kind of wake up and suddenly realize, oh wait, I can't afford this monthly payment or the interest. How am I going to eat? I'm going to pay my rent. How am I going to pay my gym membership? Oh, wait, maybe that's just me. But now beyond that, the credit crunch is also taking a bite out of auto loans as rejections are hitting record highs. Now, compared to 9.1% in February, auto loan rejections, they hit a new series high of 14.2%. It's also higher for credit cards, and this shows just how bad banks are dealing with all these different problems. They need to cut back on these bad loans because they know that things can only get worse from here. And it's also why banks are trying to lose some weight as they're lending less money to people. They're also getting rid of low performing bonds, and we've already seen the likes of Bank of America removing a day off of their weekly schedule as well as lessening work hours. What do you guys think that this is signaling for the economy? And what will happen with consumers who can't get a loan? There's definitely going to be a ripple effect that will move through different markets and sectors, so I hope you guys understand the gravity of this situation. By the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. Now let's go ahead and move on to Yellow, where they clearly understood that their situation with the Teamsters Union, it was dire. And they've now agreed to extend healthcare benefits for employees at YRC Freight in Holland. They now have less than 30 days to pay $50 million to catch up on their benefit payments. Ouch. So Yellow's attorney was very clear about the company's message. A strike would mean that the company is done. Now, I'm hopeful that things get patched up here, but it's going to be a real challenge given the state of goods being moved nowadays. But what are your thoughts on all this, guys? Do you think that this thing's now over? And what are your thoughts on all of today's updates? Make sure to share your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one.